1 second, please.
And you're on.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our strategy lesson series. 1 second, please. Something again is wrong with my YouTube. I really want to chat with somebody if there's anybody asking questions. And today we're going to do something else. I think today is going to be very educational, as Jan and me are going to share some educational content with you, as we are going to talk about chess strategy. As for a start, I mean, we are a learning journey, right? So we want to learn something. We want to, also like teach something other people. So I will just say a quick story why this topic and why this position. 1 second, chess under fire. Okay, we have time today. We are chilling. It's Friday evening anyway. Hello, Jan. How are you?
I'm fine. Hello. How are you?
I'm great. Finally weekend, and now we can play and talk about chess. So, yeah, okay. I think I will see chat here now on YouTube. Excuse me for this. Also, Jan, of course, if you see people asking questions on YouTube, you can just pass me those. And I see chat on Twitch, of course. I will answer on Twitch directly.
All right.
So yeah, it's all right. Jan, you all right with that? If anybody
Yes, yes.
something on YouTube. Okay, great. So yeah, today we're going to talk about chess strategy. So first of all, the quick story why this topic. When I started to go like full time, let's say full time coaching, chess coaching. I'm coaching for a long time now, more than 10 years for sure, like 12 or 13 years already, and I started to go like, let's say, full-time few years ago, and I was looking for of course, like sources and material to work with students. And of course, first thing you start is just chess tactics, and of course I already knew, and I found even more, like hundreds or even thousands of books and stuff about chess tactics. And of course, endgames are something else. Of course, there are many things about endgames and many good material, of course, from old to new. Openings are something else. There are all kinds of ways to learn openings, especially these days. So I basically wanted to see what can I work with students like that is not tactics, and of course that is strategy, chess strategy. And then I was basically shocked how I couldn't find like basically a good material, and I really found like just few maybe good books and stuff that I'm using, and that I recommend also to my students. And yeah, like that's a big difference. So basically in chess it's everything, either like almost all the moves are either strategical or tactical. Of course, we know that tactics or tactical moves are the moves that are like deciding the certain position, like critical moves, checkmates, checks, combinations, like very concrete moves, and that is all a lot fun, of course, all that. And we all know about chess puzzles and stuff. But on the other hand, there is chess strategy, and I guess that is like let's say more boring, and that's like people are avoiding to do that, I guess. I don't know what else to say. uh, what are the reasons why people are not working on that, because they should. And the irony is that actually most of the moves that we play during the game are actually like strategical moves. I mean, and we can say roughly that chess strategy is like, I also say for strategy, that's like my term is like chess understanding, basically. because you have to plan in basically every situation. You have to build, let's say, a position, and then it's some kind of battle or tactics on the board. You can say like you can take a picture from real life, from some war. Of course, we are anti-war people, but before every battle, I guess there is like big preparation, like building stuff, and I guess, I mean, must be. So we can say chess strategy is actually that, and that is like bigger part. So anyway, yeah, altogether, I think that's something that also makes difference, especially in longer time controls, classical for sure. Like already also we can say like, every chess player should know. I mean, even though in practice it's of course different, that in every chess opening you should like attack the center. You should develop your pieces as fast as possible, and you should castle. Those are like three things. So that's, you can say that's like opening strategy, right? So yeah, of course we'll talk about middle game strategy now. And yeah, there are many topics, of course, and as I said, that's what makes difference. And yeah, so, and now about this position, and for a start, for let's say for introduction of this topic, and in general, like this theme that is of course not easy, I think, just because, as I said, people are not talking about that enough and not working on that enough. So for introduction, I take this example because this is actually one of my favorite games ever. As white here was Fischer, also like probably one of the best chess players ever, according to some people, even like the best. But I think top three for sure, and probably the most important person in chess history. I mean, everybody should know about Fischer, of course, a great American player and a world champion. And yeah, I mean, he was known mostly because of his like very tactical, very sharp play, of course. But yeah, of course, he was great in all part of the chess game. Of course, I mean, he wouldn't be world champion and one of the best ever, as of course all world champions were great in not only in tactics, of course, but also in chess strategy and in openings and the end games and all other things. And yeah, so this position is like one of my favorite positions and games ever, one of most educational also, the position which changed also like my point of view of all this. And especially because, I mean, it's interesting. You will see in the end in this position. I don't know. It's just like crazy thing is that all kind of strategical topics are actually included in this position, and which is something that is I think amazing. And yeah, you will see later more about that. And second of all, the thing is that position is like when you see it, you can say like very boring also. And Fischer was white. It was game from the Chess Olympiad in 1966. So we have some classical chess here, also classical game, which I think every chess player also should like work on, of course, study classical games, classical players. And yeah, black was Durao. Durao was Portuguese player. I think I read somewhere just before we started now that he was champion of Portugal like 13 times, and he was international master. So quite strong player. And yeah, okay, now let's talk about the position. And as I said, I think that's perfect example to see what actually what I'm trying to say, what is chess strategy and what are the most important topics, as we will name it in the end. So okay, let's start. First, I said already the position isn't quite interesting. I mean, first things that you always probably check or see when you're trying to evaluate a position first things are king's position and material. So those are the first two things anyway. And here both is like very equal. No queens on the board also. And you can even say that, I don't know, like black is even slightly better here. Anyway, white isn't doing like very well. Like this knight on d2 is not great. This pawn on e5 is a target also. And in general, like black is doing perfectly fine. This bishop on d3 is looking quite well. And yeah, the question is here, of course, what to do in the first place, what to do here for white. So let's start, as we have time now. We're chilling like on live. Let's see, Jan, first of all, what did you play here for white? What did you do here for white?
Okay, so if I don't see a tactical motive, then I usually think about how can I improve a piece.
Yeah.
And the worst piece here is, to me, by far the bishop on c1. And by the way, guys, it's the first time I see the position. Jurica didn't show it to me before the session, so I really have to take my time. But that is really the key thing I would try to do here. So probably trying to find a better place for the knight on d2. And if that goes away, it opens up the bishop. So that would be my first initial idea here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I would just like to say something about what you said. Very important thing, and maybe like one of the most important rules in chess in general is the actually strategic rule, and very simple but very useful. And as you said, and it goes like, when you don't know what to do, when you don't have anything like very concrete to do, improve your pieces and improve your worst pieces, of course. That means, because you want, with time, you want all of your pieces to do well. Of course, I think already that most of players know that first things that you check in basically every position is like tactics. If you have any tactic, like if you have any concrete moves, you can use, I always say to my students, you can use that simple list, tactical list, I call it, checks first, captures second, threats third, simply because if it's like good option, is probably the best option. But again, in most of the positions, you don't have that. And here, definitely, I mean, okay, it's hard to say most of the positions, but in more than 50% probably most that we play, we don't have like tactical move, like, or crazy tactical move or whatever. Here, for example, especially. So that's just one first thing that I want to like say what you said, and that's like very, very nice. Where did you hear that? Where did you hear that rule? Somewhere on Chess Dojo, or
no? Basically, I think that was
just
on
somewhere.
a YouTube video, and it was by German female GM Elisabeth Pett. And
okay.
Yeah, so she had a strategy session with someone similar as we do now, and he said, "I have no clue, I know nothing, and I'm looking at the board and I don't see any tactics." And then she really grilled him like 10 minutes, and before she revealed, then just improve a piece.
Yeah, funny thing, now that you mentioned her, I have actually extremely embarrassing story and funny story. I played against her, actually quite important classical game, playing for my country actually, and she played for Germany. She was probably like 50 points high rated at the time, like 2450, maybe I was around 2400. And I was black. I remembered I played some boring opening and was some boring game, but in the end I managed to take some pawns, and I was 3 pawns up, and I was like, and there were queens. We both had queens and rooks on the board, and I was 3 pawns up. And at some point I was like, why she's not resigning? And in the end, we both created some kind of position where she literally sacrificed one rook, second rook, and then a queen for a stalemate, and I couldn't avoid it. Basically, the call combination I couldn't avoid from the first sacrifice, rook sacrifice. And when I realized that, I almost had a heart attack. Obviously, it was completely winning, like 3 pawns up, almost an endgame. And she started to laugh during the game. I was like, oh my god, this is
mean, yeah.
this is like so embarrassing. Thanks for reminding me for that.
You're welcome.
Anyway, but yeah, she's from your country, so all good. Yeah. Where were we anyway?
I should move, and I was explaining that
in this position,
I like to get away with the knight on d2, and taking a look at it, maybe b3.
That was my question. What do you play here? Yeah, for white, of course.
Yes, I would play without a lot of thinking and just trying to get away with the knight on d2. I would put it to b3, which wouldn't make a lot of sense because then I could be attacked by a pawn and need to move away, and then I go back to the exact same square, so probably f1 is a better choice.
Okay.
And
that was
that's it.
Very very good calculation. Of course, in the first place, obviously you're already like good enough to understand that we always have to calculate, even though it's, let's say, some kind of strategical position like this. Anyway, knight b3, a4, yeah, for sure. I think you're a4, you thought, right? Not c4 after knight b3. You say knight b3, and then black pushes, yeah, a4 probably.
But I see
Knight
I could
F1.
also play e4, I think.
Which move? Sorry?
e4, if I play knight e4, it's protected by the rook.
Yeah, but then maybe e5 is hanging, I'm not sure. Because then rook isn't defending e5 anymore. As I remember, I analyzed this position a few times already. I think knight e4 is possible move, one of possible moves, but knight e5 probably like slightly better.
Yeah, well, to me the best one would really be f1.
Knight f1, yeah, also like seems like a quite okay option. And the question is, as of course, I think, okay, I can speak for title players. I think, especially in classical chess, which should be like main time control. And when you're learning these things, and when you work on chess in general, I think classical chess should be like main point of view. So, I guess that also comes with time. Like you always ask yourself, like what you always calculate. Basically, you should always ask yourself, what is my opponent going to do or going to play? So after knight f1, what is black playing? Should be an automatic question.
There will be a lot of silence now. So,
Yeah.
is anything attacked? No, nothing is attacked.
No, black just
Okay.
has like a good strategical move also.
Yes.
Also.
So if I don't see a tactic, then maybe black should also improve a piece.
Okay, yeah. Makes sense.
But which one? So pretty inactive to me looks the rook on a7. And I'd like double rooks on a file.
He did that in the game. He played that after Fischer's move.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
So anything else?
The thing about this position is also like one of I guess you can say like strategical rules is that very simple. You should play on the side where you're stronger. And seems like again, but that's I guess chess is like much easier in theory than in practice. But that really is like when you think about some kind of Sicilian position or any kind of position where, let's say, white castle long side and black castle short side. So white is obviously stronger on king side pushing pawns, and black is stronger on queen side pushing pawns, and that's usually how it is actually, of course. So white plays where he's stronger, and of course center can always be like part of the board or place to create counterattack, to fight for the advantage, for space and so on. Space is also one of like things in chess that is very important. When you have more space, it simply means that you probably have more squares to move for your pieces, for example, and that is also actually one of the things in this position. As I said, in this position, everything basically matters. Like many like strategical themes and things in this position. So, okay, long story short, after knight f1, black should play where he's stronger, and then it's queen side. And he actually has a great play here with pawns because he's already very far. And after knight f1, black is probably playing a4 here. And here, yeah, we simply have here like pawn play, and that is also one of strategical themes that I also like, for example, work with students. One of the functions or like main functions of pawns can be like simply gaining space and attacking, creating weaknesses. This is like all together, I would even say. The idea is a3 simply. So white will probably white has to play a3, but now it's like already obvious. And black now, what do you think black now can do?
Probably b5.
Yeah, exactly. Just continue with the plan. And all of a sudden, I think that looks very annoying for white, as before is basically unstoppable. I mean, white cannot stop it anymore. I mean, before is like extremely well supported. And yeah, also like the question is, of course, one of the things in this position we'll see later, and as we already talked about it, is in this chess strategy is improving pieces. You always want to have all of your pieces on best possible squares. And Fischer, of course, understood that and asked himself from the start, like, where is actually this knight going? That's actually one of the main questions in this position, but that's like now already deep strategy. But we will get to that, of course, as maybe the other question can be, where is he going from f1? Okay, maybe e3 to go for a trade, but it's also a question because of 95. Okay, probably 95 doesn't work, but yeah, a4 is quite dangerous anyway, and b5. I guess 93 just b4. And all of a sudden, it's not easy for white. I think its position is quite, defensive, that's for sure. For example, if bishop d2, we can all again talk about space simply, and I'm just looking how to use space here for black. Like maybe the move can be simply 95 here with knight b3. When you see it, then it looks actually very, very dangerous for white, because where is this rook going actually? Yeah. And black doesn't have any problems, because after if white takes a before c before, black can always play knight b3 and knight d2 if nothing else. I mean, as I say, if nothing else. So I don't know, it just looks like, let's see what engine says here, for example. Which is perfect. First c3 and fixing the space advantage. I think you can even say like c4 can be like that kind of move. So yeah, black is better now. 95 e5, and black is pushing white that just doesn't have many options. Like, for example, this bishop on d2 is not great. b5 probably will be a problem. Yeah, for sure will be a problem, because white cannot play rook b1, and all that for all that reasons, because of a4 is so dangerous with b5. As we said, black should play where he's stronger, and he has great play on queen side when you think like that. And yeah, basically white played, Fischer played, okay, we'll turn engine off now. It says equal position. That's interesting. I would say white is slightly better, especially from practical point of view, but we'll get to that. So let's start now with the game actually. Fischer played a4 here. And now I think it's quite clear why. And here we can already talk about two strategical themes or topics. First of all, it's a prophylactic move, as we saw. Prophylaxis is also something that I really like to work when I work strategy, simply because it's always important. Long story short, I won't go now deep into that. You should always be careful about the opponent's moves and ideas. And in very tactical positions, very sharp positions, let's say it's kind of normal for a player that be like very aware. But we very often forget, we fall asleep in some kind of quiet position, and we easily blunder move like a4 here or something like that. So basically prophylaxis is always important, and I always like to work on it. And then you have like classical examples like Karpov, Kramnik with beautiful examples. So I think that's also like part of strategy. So that's one thing. And other thing obviously here is like pawn play. Simply as a4, b5 is like very simple, but also very nice, very practical way to play for a win. Obviously, as we know that you can win in some kind of deep endgame with just one pawn, of course. I mean, a win is a win. So obviously here, a4, b5 is more than enough to win a game. As engine Stockfish already also said, like it's already like +1 for black, basically like winning a game almost. So yeah, we have great example of that also here with simply pawn play. That is also something I think that every chess player should work on. Not only like pawn play, also of course like types of pawn and strong, weak pawns, and all that kind of stuff. Of course, I mean we have 8 pawns every game. We use it every game, and yeah. So those are already like 2 topics we talked about. A lot of space also in this move. So already we have like 3. I would even say like very, maybe if we talk about the position more, maybe we can see something more. But for now, we mentioned like 3 very very important strategical things, and all that is like a4 move, and obviously the best move by the engine also for all that reasons. And of course Fischer played it, and now of course position goes on. Black here has few options, but he played very normal, very human move, I would say. Rook from, maybe not in the end the best move, but it's really hard to say what to do. Like g5 is like maybe some kind of option, like very very interesting option. But okay, that's like engine's move, I would even say. The idea is of course to sacrifice g5 pawn for e5 pawn, because it is a central pawn, and black claims that it's like maybe more valuable or more important than g pawn. But anyway, I think most of the players, as it is like a very quiet normal position, as Jan, you also mentioned, rook from a to d7 is like very very normal and very human move and very logical move. And black played rook from a to d7. I mean, of course the point is that black, as we said, black is improving, again strategical move. Of course black is improving his inactive piece, let's say, rook on a7 now, especially after a4, and puts a rook on open file, central d file. So that's all very reasonable. And yeah, very normal move. Anyway, now the question is what to do here for white. And again, Fischer, of course, obviously played the best move. And yeah, similar like a4 move, this move is like very good and very important for a few reasons. So again, let's start with like maybe let's see if you can, Jan, if you can find the best move here for white. What would you play here for white now?
I'm thinking. So this is. I'm looking, of course, for weak spots and threats.
Let's see if there's anybody in chat. What's the best move here for white? What do you think Fish should play in this position? I think there's nobody on YouTube now. So the question is, what is this move here for white? Here we'll open even more topics, even though it's like very common topic in chess. But okay, anyway, I will be quiet now for a few minutes, give you some time, Jan, and if there's anybody else in chat.
Yeah, I'm just giving my thoughts, cannot hurt. So we have a bishop now that is, or is still, that is unprotected. He's just staying there. So can I attack it somehow? Nope, nope, no, no, no. Basically I can with the bishop, but that's probably not the best move here. So will I exchange that one?
Yeah, obviously no tactics, and obviously it's a strategical move. Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so anybody on chat, please help us and help Jan to find the best move here for white, as we have here a strategy lesson.
I'm thinking of maybe c4.
C4, okay, we said we always calculate what's the reply after C4.
If he takes, I retake.
Yeah, he won't take. We should look for the best options.
So then I have the attack on his knight, so he has to move his knight.
I think it's not too hard to calculate knight b4 here.
Yeah.
As again, c4 is also like I must say, sorry, like not a great strategical move. As there you can see also, like I always say to my students, always remember pawns cannot go back. It's very easy to create weaknesses when you go forward with them, and I think that's like again like huge threat now. Now black pieces are doing amazing.
I'm going through options, so that is not an option for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's not one. So next thing. What was interesting to me is, and what I probably have heard before but didn't really remember it, is you should play on your strong side, or the side where you're stronger. So maybe it's something to do with making sure that white has a better option on the black's queen side.
Well, kind of, but okay, in this particular situation, I think maybe you cannot use this rule, as it's kind of equal now everywhere.
Okay.
Okay. Now it's something else actually that's like more important. Yeah, when I guess it's like more tactical thing, play where you're stronger. Like, okay, of course, also like in terms of strategy, but a4 b5 might be actually like tactical idea, attacking idea. I mean, or we can say both strategical and tactical. So yeah, here it's the problem is that it's really not easy to say where are you any stronger in the first place. I mean, the good thing is that he's also not stronger anyway, yeah, anywhere now. I think so, right? I mean, queen side is kind of blocked now. King side, really nothing happens there. And center is also kind of blocked. I mean, yeah, you have to create something here. You have to do something here, always, to provide something useful. So yeah, what else?
Well, I'm just telling you everything we're thinking of. So one idea would be I'd like my bishop on b5. Yeah, so but there's no way to go there. If I just go on f1, he probably will just exchange. Yeah, so if he goes out of the way, then I'm at b5 and have the pin of the knight. So, but this is probably not going to happen. And what I'm also usually like to do is I'd like to get my pawns out on the king side in these positions. Yeah, but it's probably too early. So that's also not good. So can I buy an answer and ask, like, is it a pawn move or a piece move?
It's a piece move.
Okay. Then piece move.
Yeah, more I look at the position, more it's hard to find actually something useful for both sides. But yeah, you have to do something. And white actually has very, very useful move. A very good strategical move.
This is so interesting, Jurica, because I just noticed that usually I play something without, just for playing instead of having a plan.
Yeah, that's what most of. But it's not, as I said, it's not your problem. It's not. You cannot blame beginners or people who are learning or started to play or playing like for only a few years, because about these things nobody talks about. Nobody's working on these things. You can find fools, like thousands of videos of fools made, of course, openings these days, all kind of, I would say, like, okay, I won't say stupid gambits, but like, just the content isn't, like, I think, very educational. And like, people not studying classical games anymore, like back in the day, people were in the first place like reading books, like, and when you read a book, you have to read some words, and some explanations, and you learn something. You see how players are thinking. You won't find a grandmaster. Okay, maybe these days, I don't know, there are some kind of robot grandmasters, but I think in reality you won't find a grandmaster in the world that isn't great in, I don't know, in this, for example, these things, and isn't like didn't study classical games like Fischer. I mean, okay, more or less, but everybody, every strong player, I think simply worked on these things. And endgames, same things, like of course, people were reading, as I said, people were reading books, studying chess. Today it's mostly about openings, tactics, of course. Okay, it was always about tactics. Tactics simply, it's like, feels like strategy is like overshadowed by tactics, simply because tactic is like most important, probably most fun, most interesting. Like chess combinations you had in newspapers from I don't know which century, and studies and all kind of things, even in endgames. But yeah, I guess these things are just not, like, I don't know, very attractive, and I guess overshadowed simply by tactics. And
I would, by now, I thought a little while you were explaining that, I would go with my initial idea to improve a piece, and still the bishop is really bad, so it would be again knight f1.
knight f1. Okay, the question is, what is black playing after knight f1? He didn't play knight f1 actually. Knight f1. The idea is, I guess, knight e3 maybe next to trade this knight. Okay. It's better for him than to stay on d2, I guess, that's for sure. Okay, I'm not sure, to be honest. Let's see what the engine would play, just to... Yeah, it's some kind of equal position. I was thinking about h6 just, or something.
Yeah, this is stuff.
As
This
I
is
said,
stuff that I
position is
usually struggle a lot with.
very... Yeah, as I said, this example is amazing. Like, just because it looks so boring, but it's in the start, in the first place. But it's amazing how many things like matters in this position, and how many strategical stuff Fischer used. I think almost all of them, like all the most important topics we'll see now. Improving pieces, as we talked about it already, like prophylaxis, pawn play, space, and one more thing that we didn't talk about yet, and is also like, for example, a very known thing, common thing that everybody knows about, but nobody's working on it, is like exchanges, trades. Simple as that, because in every game you trade something. I mean, literally every chess player in every chess game trades some pieces, and there are actually many rules that you can use, when you should trade, when you should avoid trades, and stuff like that. And that's like all very, very, I think, useful. Helps you, and I think it's all these things like all together. Like conclusion would be, already in this example, just because it's so wonderful and so educational, would be like, I think the whole point, the whole fun of chess is that you know what to do, basically. I mean, at least as I always say to my students, it's always much better if you have like awful plan or very bad plan than if you don't have any plan at all. And that's the worst thing that can happen to you, I think, especially for somebody who plays like even longer time. And that's the worst thing that you can end up in, and like be that kind of chess player that is just not knowing what to do, what you're doing, and what to do. Yeah, also. Maybe that's also like if somebody plays too much blitz, I don't know, like just becomes like, not thinking too much. But for a classical chess, as I think still it's like main chess and main time control, where you can really show what you know, and where, I mean, the best games are classical games, let's be honest. And all these things helps you like, to know what you do, to make a plan, to create a plan. As I said just now, also, like if you have a very bad plan, you can fix it. You can learn why is it bad plan. You can, not try not to repeat it. When you don't have a plan, then you don't have a plan maybe for many years. Like you don't know. You're just playing. Waiting for tricks or tactics, or playing some same openings, tricky openings, again for all the same kind of positions. And it's all good. It's all. I mean, I don't care. Anybody can play all time controls and type of chess they want. But this is something, as I say, that really like makes a difference between a good chess player and, I don't know, not a good chess player. And yeah, that's it. Basically, as I said, last thing we'll say now, like this is like chess understanding. If you know what to do, then it's much more fun, and I guess you play better. And of course, you always should work on tactics and be ready for tactics, and that's all perfectly fine. But one goes with the other. I think that's just like connected, basically. And the last thing now about that is, again, like there's no even like international, even like FIDE master or international master who like isn't good in both strategy and tactics. Still, I think it's impossible. There are many like, I don't know, 19, 20, 100, 2100 players, especially in line these days. There are probably like thousands and thousands and millions of them already now. But title players are something different still, and that's the difference. They understand chess and they think differently, and that's long story short, that's what we're going to try to do with players like you, who basically just started to learn and share this content with these things with everybody. And again, this is perfect example, because we can talk about everything basically here. Okay, a long story short, knight f1 is one of the best moves in the position, because it's not easy to see what to do here for white. But as we talked about a4 for some time, we'll talk about this move now. And yeah, Engine also says that move. I will turn it off now. Anyway, Fischer played bishop f1 now in this position. I don't know if you had that move in mind, if you...
Yeah, that was when I wanted to have my bishop on b5. And that's the fastest way to bring it there, but I thought it would be simply exchanged.
Yeah, I noticed also that you're talking about exchanges. So I was thinking that maybe you will say bishop f1. So yeah, bishop f1, simply we can talk about two important things about this move. First of all, it's an exchange. And that's what I just talked about. There are many things that you can talk about when you talk about trades, usually. And yeah, one of the rules, I mean, it's again very obvious rule that it's okay to trade. It's good for you if you trade a bad piece for an opponent's active or a good piece. I mean, very simple theory definition, but that's how it is. And opposite, of course, you don't want to trade your very active pieces. So that's exactly what White is doing here with that move. And not only that, there is also here, we can again talk about improving pieces. And now we actually we can return to the start of the position. And of course, the brilliancy and the genius of the best players in the world is that a4 move, now it has even more things behind it. But anyway, what I want to say that Fischer already here realized, obviously, that this knight belongs on c4 square, actually. And that's something that it's very hard to say here. Again, improve your worst pieces, always look for the best squares. That's especially for knights, as knights are those kind of pieces that are looking for every squares is like completely different, you know, like bishop is sometimes on the same diagonal. Okay, sometimes it's different, but with knights, especially you look for squares. And when I work with students about improving a knight, it's most interesting, at least for me, because it's always about looking for certain squares, you know, as they are very tricky. Of course, they are great attackers. They are also great defenders, they say about them. And yeah, anyway, Fischer realized that, I mean, I think everybody can realize here that knight is probably the worst piece on d2. You also try to fix him. And in the end, it's actually the square c4 that is the best square for him. And yeah, in these two moves, we talk about like 5 or 6 main topics that I usually work with my students also. So from improving pieces, exchanges, prophylaxis, pawn play, space, and whatnot. All those things. As I also read somewhere, one GM said like strategy should be practiced same as tactics. But yeah, the question is also that I spent a lot of time to answer that question is how do I practice it? How do I learn it? So now the answer is follow our channel, right, Jan? Anyway.
And we didn't talk about that before, but it's just right, yes.
No, we didn't. As I told you that I really want to show this position and some others, but this is, when I work with my students also, I'm always like, and it's like been many times now, I always ask myself like, how is it possible that one position can be like so basically, as I said also just now, like everything strategical here is important. And all of a sudden now you'll see like in just few moves, yeah, obviously what black can do. Let's see, engine also. Okay, knight from d2 e7.
What I'd like to tell you is it's so interesting to see how fast it makes click. And by that I mean, well, now I see it, yeah. And I thought the exchange would be bad for the white bishop, yeah, but it opens up the possibilities. I thought about the knight going to either c4 or e4, but of course that would have been prevented. And yeah, I really thought that getting the knight to either the outpost at d6 or attacking the weak pawn on b6 would really make sense.
Yeah,
But so, but
that
I
that's
just didn't
true.
follow through all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I didn't say, obviously, when I said we trade bad bishop, okay, I think it's obvious that this bishop on g2 isn't great now. 94 we already discussed also, let's see, it's getting very tricky, yeah, as I thought. 95, let's just use the engine here, just save some time. And yeah, black is still slightly better anyway here. Black is still slightly better just because he has great control of center and the file, and pieces are very coordinated, we can say. And yeah, c4 fixing pawn structure also. Okay, white shouldn't be losing this game, this position. I mean, there is bishop pair, not very useful bishop pair probably. That's the problem, because mainly because all the white squares are defended and black is holding everything. So yeah, okay, very, very, again, very dry position. Now it's almost an endgame. White will probably start to think already here about trading, maybe even to enter opposite color bishops. But anyway, I think all this just is not winning for white, as Fischer in the end won, of course, this game. So 94 is definitely an option here, as again, we really want to move this knight. But yeah, bishop f1 is by far the best move actually here, simply because all those things that we said here. And yeah, not many options anyway here, but it's very interesting how position changes here, as black, in the end, black took bishop f1. And again, in these two moves, we were discussing so many things, and that's because that's the reason why everything is changing here drastically. All of a sudden, white is better, knight is coming on c4, and obviously white is taking this bishop with which piece, Jan?
The king.
The king, yeah, of course, you always go forward with pieces. Knight is going on c4, rook is definitely staying on e1. That's easy decision. So king f1, and now all of a sudden, again, I mean, okay, black doesn't know what to do here for some time already, I think. But okay, he played all the normal moves like rook d7, bishop f1. Now he played knight from d2 e7. What's the reason for that? Just to play knight c8 next. And to keep the file open. Okay, it probably isn't the best idea. It's okay. I mean, sometimes we have to go back when we are defending. Should be probably the only situation where we go back. We really want to go forward with pieces usually. So that doesn't look like a great idea for sure. But on the other hand, what to do here for black now is the big question. Because white play knight c4, bishop g5 next, and everything changes. And as you said, b6 becomes a problem for black. Knight on c4 becomes amazing, perfect. Cannot be like pushed away from c4 at all. Is annoying, as we said, is attacking pawn on b6, and also, by the way, is defending pawn on e5. So incredibly useful knight, and all of a sudden knight opens, other knight opens, because this knight from c4 is defending pawn on e5. And yeah, let's see, already engine says white is better anyway. I mean, g5 is again some kind of a move, some kind of engine move, I would say. Even like knight c4 is even possible. Here you can play just a h3 also if you want to stop g4. I don't think there's anything special here about g5. So anyway, I think let's see the game 97. I always like to show this position.
Mm-hmm.
I always like to show this situation. Let's play like knight c8 here, and knight c8 black played obviously in the game. That, as I said, that was his idea to defend the pawn. But yeah, usually it's not great to go back like this with pieces. Okay, now engine again says white is much better, but it's not about engine. Okay, now bishop g5 is very logical move anyway. Very it's a concrete move, but it's a tempo move, and I think it's very obvious move. Developing move, also like attacking the rook that has to go on e8 or f8, which is not great for black here. And yeah, he played knight from, again, he played move that goes back basically with a knight here. And I always like to show this difference between just 5 moves in let's say dry position, quiet position, not very interesting position. Just 5 moves change. Let's see, like from this. Now we talked about this bad knight, closed bishop, e5 is hanging, bishop on g2 is a problem, a4, black is expanding here with pawns. Engine says it's equal, and in just 5 moves, obviously, for all this reason that we said, who just joined the stream can check the stream again. All these things now that we're talking about changed position into this, and I think that's very nice difference. First of all, I think space, like space. I mean, piece activity and change of space advantage here. I think already you can say black has more space, and here obviously white has more space now with this bishop on g5 pawn.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I think that's, even though if you don't understand a lot about chess, I mean, not you, but in general, you can say that that's a big difference in terms of taking the space in just 5 moves. And of course, all the other things that we talked about are important. And yeah, again, I like this example a lot. It shows like how brilliant was Fischer, and we know him mainly, again, same thing when you talk about Fischer, probably most of the videos, most of the things in like books and stuff, most common game is that game of the century game where he was 13 years old. So obviously very tactical, very sharp game. I mean, beautiful game, of course, amazing game, one of the classics, but again, it's like tactical, more about tactics, and it just, as I say, strategy just overshadowed by these kind of things. But again, you see how of all the best players, all the brilliant players were, of course, top in these things also, as, again, not everybody could realize from the start, and he probably did. I mean, a4 was very tough move. Again, a4. You can start from here. You don't have to go any further from here. Like we can just talk about today about just a4 move here and just make that as a lesson, and ask ourselves like how many players would play a4 here, just that. And again, as I said, here you can say like 2 topics that I usually work with my students, like pawn play. You can put this in pawn play, and you can put this in prophylaxis, as we said. Black would probably play a4 here next, whatever white play. So yeah, just that is like, I think already like very educational, strategical, and yeah, after all these things, now position change into this, and yeah, we can check a few more moves, of course, since we now saw this. Let's see how Fischer continued, of course, to play. And again, the strategical move, interesting. Like basically, again, one of the main topics is just again like improving pieces, improve your bad pieces. Now, all of a sudden, all the white pieces are quite okay. I mean, some of them are even doing amazing. And now when you think about improving pieces, okay, rooks are they are not perfect, but the perfect place would be the file where obviously you cannot put them.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden knight on f3 is the worst piece that you can improve. And again, when you think that's like, I think obviously quite strategical thinking. When you think like that, knight e2 becomes like very normal move, very logical move. Otherwise might look weird, but obviously the idea is 94, and that's much better square than f3, and it's also a central square obviously, and so on. h6 black played, as obviously now white cannot lose any time because of this knight on d2, but okay, bishop knights are kind of more tricky now here in this position. Bishop e7, rook e7. And now, okay, 94 is a move, of course, but again, he played a kind of strategical move. Same thing, basically. He found a very interesting also way to improve pieces here, and of course, when I talk about that with my students, of course, if just one piece that is like improved like drastically can change the whole position. I think that should be even obvious. Like, or if on the other hand, like you can say when one piece is out of the game, that might be, of course, losing position because basically you're playing without a piece. That's a lot. So yeah, the good thing about, I mean, the very interesting thing about this particular topic is that just one improvement can change everything. As white here again found very interesting idea, rook a3. All of a sudden, rook left to play rook b3 to simply to attack weakness. Now I guess that that attacker in Fischer woke up here and he really wanted to start attacking something here, and he found this. But it's again like strategical idea. It's like rook maneuver, basically, and yeah, it's like improving pieces again. Rook c7. Black is in defensive mode for some time now. Rook b3, rook c6, and now finally 94. And again, position looks even better than it looked. I mean, every move is getting better for white, I feel like, obviously. Again, let's not even compare like from the start and the end. I mean, just 10 moves. It's not, I think, that much. Bishop f8. And now, yeah, Fischer again, strategically, that's like Karpov. I think Karpov is the best in history. That kind of play, I mean, strategical genius, of course. Basically, he always liked to improve things when he can improve, especially if your opponent cannot improve anything. I mean, slow play, like slow converting of advantage, slow but safe. That's like king e2 move here, and the whole idea is to simply to play on the king side here, push pawns. As white is stronger on queen side here, we can say play very stronger. White is probably slightly stronger on queen side. Center is blocked, but sometimes one side is not enough. You know, like it's easier to win or to break through if you create like paths on two sides. It's similar thing with weaknesses. You know, when your opponent has just one weakness, sometimes, let's say, some isolated pawn, sometimes he puts everything in a defense and he's holding, like he's defending, and yeah, if he somehow you cannot win, let's say. But if he has two isolated pawns, two weaknesses, then it's completely different story. Then it's much harder to defend, and then probably it's you cannot defend both. So similar things with, like, let's say, like sides, queen side and king side. Sometimes when you are not, one side is not enough, you try to open king side. And again, for example, Karpov again comes to my mind as a classical example, especially in his like Ruy Lopez games, Spanish games. where center is blocked very often. Maybe we can analyze those are also like strategical brilliances from the history, of course. We can definitely, there's also one of my favorite games. I suggested to analyze it next time. Carp game anyway. Great examples how he tried to. I mean, I tried to, but he managed to create advantages on two sides, both queen side and king side, and opponent would just collapse, without any counterplay, which is even more painful in chess. So yeah, long story short, let's say that White Fischer is doing that here also. So again, it shows how Fischer was brilliant, again, like strategical brilliance here, as he just played like very simple but very, very smart, like king e2, f4, king f8, g4, king e8. Obviously, black doesn't know what to do, defensive mode and just waiting. Again, that's why it's even better for white to improve, because black doesn't improve anything, just waiting. So king e8, rook f1, obviously preparing f5, rook d5, rook f3, few more moves, okay, in this game, but anyway, yeah, white won in the end. Obviously, rook d8 now, and rook h3, bishop f8, improving even more, I would say, making black pieces even more passive, but okay, black had to play bishop f8, and yeah, now Fischer found tactics. Yeah, okay. It's actually not so so hard. I mean, exactly what I said. Stretching on two sides. Knight f5. The idea is after b a5 to play knight f6. This should be checkmate.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly what I was talking about. Basically, breakthrough on two sides. I mean, yeah, black is like stretched. I don't know how to explain it, but anyway, black that cannot hold both sides, as bishop f8 creates more problems than good things. So knight f5, I think that's already kind of winning position. So let's see now, in respect for Fischer, let's see the end of the game. Few more moves. So rook c7, knight c4 back simply now. Rook a7, knight b6, some trades now, knight b6, rook b6, rook from d2. Yeah, the end is also actually very nice. So I will show you that also. Knight f6 check, king d8, rook c6, rook c7, because there are some dangerous threats now. Anyway, it's completely winning, but it was nice and also very nice actually. So king c7, rook d7 check, king c6, rook f7, c4 desperation, knight d7, bishop c5, knight c5, king c5. Again, one of the rules when you talk about exchanges, one of the most famous, most important also, is like you should trade when you're better. But we'll talk about that more, I feel like, in future in this series. So now, yeah, of course, it's always interesting with Fischer. It's never boring in any part of the game, and here he also found a great way to win this position. If he found the fastest way here to win this position, even though it's completely winning. But he created here a mate net. Maybe for the end of this video it would be interesting. Yeah, okay, so this lesson was almost like 1.5 hours, so I think that's quite enough for introduction lesson. So let's see this for the end. Yeah, he found a very, very amazing move here. Even though, as I say, it's completely winning, he's like 3 pawns up. But okay, let's say A4 is hanging, king E4 is maybe a threat. That is so unexpected here, especially because it's winning. But that's why Fischer is Fischer. Probably my favorite, also chess player of all time. Probably next to Reti, but okay, Reti, that's something else. That's more like emotional, but realistic admiration. So Fischer must be one of the greats. I mean, one of the best ever. And these kind of moves are also like proof. And yeah. Okay, I will show you the movie on because it's really not easy. Let's see the engine if he sees
Yeah,
it.
to me, it's
before
like
his
one
move.
of these Polga made in two, where I sometimes need 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's just like it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I would never find it. I think I had a feeling, just because it's so unexpected. But B4 is the best move here. The idea is, let's say if he plays, I guess, Rook A4 or King E3, or there's even more concrete way to create mate. Check, 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 and now King D3. Yeah, I mean that's of course strategy and tactics go together. Sometimes if you strategically create some kind of great position, much better position, tactics are easy actually.
Jurica, can you
Tactics is
show
easy.
what happens if black took en passant with taking?
Yeah, of course that's second thing. Of course I would get back to it. Or basically black resigned in the game, of course. Quite strong. Yeah, King D3 just. So yeah, strategy. First of all, you create some kind of position situation, and then you decided to be tactics. So that's like example how the best of players of all time did it, right?
Okay.
That's why.
I see it. Okay.
Yeah, it's C4 is unstoppable now. Rook A4 is the only move here. C4 takes B2.
Yeah, we just give an exchange and okay. Nice.
Rook B4. It's not a stalemate, not even close. I mean, King also has a lot of options. So yeah, B4 is like amazing move here. B3, King B3. Black resign after B4.
But Jurica, this was really so cool because when you said, Jan, I have a very instructional game, I thought like, well, what can happen? What can he show? And this was really cool and met exactly my weaknesses, because my main weakness, I think, is that I have no clue to find a plan. Yeah, like basically sometimes it happens by accidents, but usually I just play to play something because I have to play something, and then I come up with stupid ideas. But this was so clear, basically. It was really, really nice. I mean, A4 I would have never seen. Yeah, but Bishop F1 would have been possible for me to see. And so this was really, really nice. And do you know what was my very first chess book?
No.
When I was like 7, 8, 9 years old, my father gave me a book that he used. It was Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess. And it was like from 1977, 78 or so. And it was so nice because there were checkboxes with moves, and you could check a box when you thought that is the best move. And when I got it from my father, I had to took an eraser and get all his marks out of the checkboxes to get it clear for myself again. So that was a green book with lots of pages and lots of positions and lots of interesting things, where I, as a young kid, had tremendous fun going through the book. I even took it with me on the school bus, and so on. It was really nice.
So you read the whole book, yeah?
I went to it from page 1 to the last one, yes.
How old were you? What you said?
7, 8, 9, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So that was, yeah.
Yeah, and then of course, being now a little older, I really regret that I didn't had the stamina or the willpower to push through. So basically, the chess set was just put into the edge of the room and never touched again, more or less.
Yeah, that's one of the most famous books ever, of course. And you're not the first one that I heard that story, but it was first book. Yeah, one great book, of course. It's not too late. What else can I say? Also, when we were talking, I was thinking also not only this, like people I heard also complaining a lot, like to me, I mean personally, okay, but about endgame also, like endgame strategy and just how to play endgames and that stuff. But okay, when you talk about endgames, there are much more material, of course, from starting from Dvoretsky. I think I can say that here. I already said that on one stream. Basically, in my club, when I worked as a kid for many years, basically we grew up on Dvoretsky endgames, and I think it's still in me. Like it's classic. Like and there are many books, like many endgame books and new books, like also like other authors, of course, like Karsten. I can say, I guess, one or two names. Auerbach is also old example. I mean, there are anyway, there's also one author from Croatia about endgames that has Kovacevic, GM, who is, by the way, also like one of the most interesting stories in chess history ever. It really is, and there is a video on YouTube that has like more than 1 million views. I think almost two now. I think something like that, where he beat Fischer again. We have Fischer. He beat him in classical chess in tournament in Croatia. I think it was 70 or 71. Basically, when Fischer was the strongest, just before he was a world champion, and he was first in that tournament also. But he lost that game against a home guy, Kovacevic, who was just a master at that time, I think.
I'd never heard of him.
And he won. And yeah, he's a grandmaster, like 2500 grandmaster. I played with him, and he was my coach for some time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He also have like 4 or 5 even books about endgames. Anyway, yeah, I think endgames are just much easier to work anyway, and this is something that it's really not easy to find good examples. And I really hope you learn something and that you enjoy this.
I did. I just have to remember.
Sorry?
I just have to remember, because the prophylaxis is never a thing I'm thinking of. Never. Yeah. And those are hard moves to find for me.
Yeah. That's why you can also watch stream a few times. Like, I hope our viewers will. I'm just kidding. Yeah, of course. Anyway, my idea is to have more of this in the future. Just
yes, please.
Maybe it's even we can do even like this, like to go into like particular topic, like I don't know, maybe in the future, but maybe I will just give you like share with you and viewers like most educational and most interesting, also like strategical examples that I think you can talk about more things. Like, okay, this one is like really special. I really think that really special example, strategical position, like unbelievable, almost. And I think in the future we can also do that. Can just show you like this to me most interesting, most educational games like this, and at least if nothing else, to give you like an idea maybe, or a way how to think differently in chess, or just how to think in the first place, like as you say, Also, and what I said, I think the main thing about this, why it's so important. First of all, it's like, as I said, it's more fun to play when you know what to do. I mean, or at least trying to know what to do. It's more fun. First of all, second of all, again, like in games, most of our moves are like strategical moves. Either pawn, especially in middle games. I would say. Again, opening something else, ending game something else, but most of the fight is happening in the middle game, probably, right? And the games are usually deciding in middle game also. So that should be like, let's be honest, most critical, let's say, part of the game. And by far, most of the moves are like this, or either exchange, either you have to improve something, stop some idea, maybe. Bishop pair, the thing is also that we didn't mention today. I was thinking before the stream, we should definitely mention that also, since it's strategy introduction. Bishop pair is also like one of the most common and most famous also like strategical things that people are maybe not even working enough, even though it's so famous and so common, people still are forgetting about it, right? Again, like title player would, if he sees a bishop pair, he knows he has a bishop pair, but maybe some 19, 20,000, 1800 player maybe just doesn't care, or maybe some care, some not. Anyway, bishop pair is also like
Jurica,
one of the things.
what I noticed was on last weekend's summer marathon, there were several games where I was simply mated by a double bishop pair. Yeah,
Okay.
like they preparing all I didn't have the squares to move to because of the double bishop pair. And that happened like 5, 4, 6, 7, 8 games in a row, more or less, basically, during all those games. And there I really felt it. Yeah, the power.
Yeah, as we also have a video, by the way, about bishop pair, and also how we use it.
Yes, true.
How we use it in very, very common thing, of course. I just mentioned it because it's one of the most famous also, like everybody, at least in theory, everybody knows about it, but in practice we know that people trading bishop pair very often. I see like not caring at all. But no, maybe we should also say, we didn't say like strategy is obviously like more like long-term play, right? More long-term thinking. Tactics is more obviously short-term. I mean, again, roughly said. So again, bishop pair is usually especially like long-term thing, especially if it's like the beginning of the game, position is quite close, then you really maybe cannot see it, or know it. But you should, right? If you have a bishop pair in some kind of normal equal position, probably position will open eventually. Pawns will trade, position will open, and they should be advantage. In the end, I would just want to say also, like, every rule has exceptions also, but that's just that's not only strategy, that's like in chess in general, just because like chess is so many options, so big. But that's why it's so interesting, because for example in tactics, if you say always like first option, we said like you should check checks. So if you have a check in a position, if it's always like the best move, then it wouldn't be like even interesting like at all, even close like it's interesting now. So that's why everything has an exception, but that's only makes it even more interesting. But that's, again, the reason is just because it has so many options and so many possibilities. And yeah, that's it. But in general, those rules are useful. And yeah, again, that's I think that's all more than enough today for first video. I really hope it will help a lot of chess players in the future. Also, if you have some kind of questions about this, I mean, if you want to learn really, or some kind of lessons like this, maybe particular topics like improving pieces, prophylaxis also, of course, I work that. Anything, basically any recommendation you can write in the comments in chat. and we can work on it. Of course, we are very flexible with content, but yeah, I think I already have in mind positions for the future, and I will try to share that with you. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, Jan. You can have finish words now. I think we
yes,
can.
on a personal note, for me it was very uncomfortable in the beginning because I'm not used to be asked questions on a stream. Yeah, it was like, do you know the best move? And I'm like, no. And then I couldn't think because I was thinking like, what happens if I don't know the right move? But it's a typical normal thing. I just don't know it. It's a master's game. How should I know the moves? Yeah, and so
It was all
once
sacrifice for our viewers.
yeah. Yeah, so the longer the stream took, the more comfortable I felt by saying what I just think. If it's right or not, doesn't matter more or less. It's just the learning experience here for me. So
All right,
all goals
nice to
achieved,
hear.
I guess. Yes.
All right, nice to hear. Hope you learned something also with our viewers. Tomorrow we are back to playing, and we have very strong League Chess title tournament.
Yes, Jurica is going
Sunday
for
we
gold.
have going for gold. Yeah, similar as I said previous stream, similar to Chess.com title Tuesday. Also like 3+0. Yeah, that's the difference. And okay, it's League Chess pairings also. But okay, that doesn't matter at all, as tournament will be very, very strong and games will be very interesting. I will have to prepare tomorrow. And we have Sunday Bundesliga. I really hope we'll have enough players. And Tuesday we have title Tuesday, so stay with us. Next few days we are playing, and then more of this in the future. More of this educational stuff. So yeah, now I think our viewers have everything, and our learning journey is officially now like legit with this kind of content, because yeah, I really think this is very, very actually educational, to be honest. I mean, I would just say it as chess coach, as a title player also, like for me also, when I go through these examples many times working with students, I feel like again, like I don't know, like improving, even though I saw it like maybe 10 times, same example, but this one, for example, always amazes me for some reason. I don't know why. And it's probably the most boring position you ever saw, but you can check our stream again and see what we talked about 1.5 hours, and you will see why I said all that. So yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching. I really hope you learned something. Will be more of this. Jan, thank you for cooperating with me here in this lesson, and see you very soon.
Thank you and have a good night.
Good night, everybody.